Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sister, for this opportunity to present my PhD work. I am Saika, and today I'm going to talk about humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons with a case study of South Asia. In South Asia, India and Pakistan are having a nuclear weapons since 1998. And these two countries are not only sharing a geographical proximity or a direct border, along with that, they're also sharing a historical enmity. Till 1947, both the countries were part of Indian subcontinent under the rule of Britishers. And after that, they were divided into two states, but still till date, the relations are remain the same as India considered Pakistan as part of it, and it should be part of India. But Pakistans have the different ideology and perspectives, which create a line between these two countries. Both the states conducted their nuclear weapon test in 1998 and became the de facto nuclear weapon states. De facto nuclear weapon states are those states who are not part of nuclear non-proliferation treaty like NPT, and they are saying that they are facilitating non-proliferation and arms control norms, but their actions are quite in opposite direction. And in order to maintain their balance against each other, these two countries are involved in a direct arms competition, and which is known as action reaction syndromes, which means that if a state A like India tested any nuclear test or any nuclear deal with any other state, Pakistan has to respond in that way in order to maintain a balance, especially if India or the Pakistan is tested nuclear weapons that the other country face or feel like a threat to their security, which is basically creating a security dilemma that the action of one is ultimately create a reaction by the other side. If we talked about the conditions of if we talks about the facts about India and Pakistan, nuclear weapons, according to the India and Pakistan, they are bringing a peace and stability in the region. But on the contrary, if we talked about the arms race figure, like okay, should I keep continuing? Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I was talking about the facts about India and Pakistan. Both are involved in an armed race. And if we look at the armed race between India and Pakistan, which account 93% of the total military expenditure that they are spending on the development of nuclear weapons and the other military equipments. And if we talked about the ranking, India's ranking is 142 when it comes to the per capita income. And if we talked about the ranking in the imports of arms, India comes at the first number. And if we talked about Pakistan's ranked in 119th position in terms of per capita income. And for the imports of the nuclear arms and weapons, it comes at the 10th number. India and Pakistan, they developed their nuclear weapons to create a strategic balance, and they after the nuclear weapon tests, they said that these weapons will be used as a deterrence, which means that after the nuclear weapons, there will be no direct conflict between these two states. But for the effective deterrence, it is always that your weapon is always in the active mode. Secondly, you have to spend more in order to remain, in order to make your deterrence stable. If your deterrence is not stable, then there is no deterrence, which means your security is at threat. And ultimately, the other meaning is that you have to spend more money to develop more weapons to make a strategic balance in the region. If we talked about Indian-Pakistan conflict history, soon after the independence in 1948, they fought a war on Kashmir issue, and which is basically considered as a bone of contention between these two states. It's basically a territorial issue. India claims that Kashmir is part of India, and the Pakistan claims it's part of Pakistan, and both are still fighting conflict, and this crisis situation is still going on in this region. And we have there a line of control, and on the daily basis there are clashes over there between the militaries who are deployed over there. And after 1948 wars, they have a 1965 war between it was a direct war between these two states. And after the 1965 war, they had 1971 war, in which Pakistan lose its main body, which is now known as Bangladesh. But the situation not remains there. But after the 1971 war, India tested its nuclear weapon in 1974, and afterward, Pakistan decided that in order to secure their sovereignty and security, it is quite necessary to develop a nuclear weapon to maintain a balance in the South Asian region. But after having the nuclear tests by the Indian side, India and Pakistan both had a 1990s spring crisis, again over the Kashmir issue. And after the spring crisis, they both developed their nuclear weapons. Before that, they were working on the nuclear weapons, but in 1998, they declared themselves as a nuclear weapon state on the world map. But after the nuclear weapons, which was considered as to make a deterrence against each other, but the things not remains there. But soon after the nuclear weapons test in 1998, they both fought a war, which is known as Kargil War in 1999. And soon after that, they also have a long military standoff in 2001 after the militants attacked on the Parliament of India. And India considered that Pakistan is involved in that incident, and without investigating the situation, they started a crisis between the two countries, and they deployed their armies on the borders. And after 2001, there was a Samjhauta Express, which was introduced between these two countries as a peace process, but it was failed again by the militant attack on the Samjhauta Express, which is basically a train connection between these two countries, and it was stopped after that incident. And soon after that incident, they also had another incident, which is known as Mumbai incident in 2008, in which militants attacked on the different important locations in India. And India said that Pakistan is behind this incident. And the situation and the peace process that was started at that time period was stopped, and is never start till date. And soon after that, both the states, they were not involved in direct conflict. But in 2019, when again the militants attacked one of the forces in India, and India, without investigating the situation, they sent their aircraft to Pakistan, which crossed the international border of Pakistan, which is a first-time violation, basically. And after that, in response, Pakistan also responded in the same way, and ultimately, this incident was basically ended when Pakistan captured one of the Indian pilot, which was landed in Pakistan as a peace gesture. But still, the relations remain the same. Both are considered each other as an enemy state, and both are considered each other's activity as a hostile and as a threat to their security, and they are responding in the same way. If we talked about, as my topic is humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons, we usually talked about nuclear weapons in deterrence, that the nuclear weapons we have to deter other state and maintain our sovereignty and survivability. But in my topic is that how these weapons are affecting the humanity of the people of India and Pakistan. So If we talked about the inflation rate in Pakistan, majority of the people, they are living below the international poverty line with $2 per day, and 46% of the children are suffering from malnutrition, and 35% of the population is traveling from severe health deficiencies, especially in terms of availability of food, clean water, and building better educated system. But the people, the military, the politicians, they focus more on their defense rather than the health of the people. And if we talked about the defense spending, in India's case, from 2014 till 2001, I have the collected data. And if we look at the graph, it shows that it is increasing each year, and which shows that their preferences are different. They prefer to spend more on defense rather than more on the welfare of the human being. Same is the case with the Pakistan spending. It also increasing with the annual year, which shows that they have their different priorities. Instead of spending money on the well-being or the welfare of the people, they are more concerned about the defense of their country. According to the nuclear warheads that they have, the report that recently launched by the CIPRI, which shows that Pakistan had 170 nuclear warheads, and India has around about 164. And they are not like that they are, in the start they were saying we are only making that weapons which are necessary for the credible minimum deterrence, which means that they are only making the weapons which are quite necessary for their survivability, not more than that. But if we look at the data right now in this current situation, they are spending more day by day, and they are saying that we are spending because we have to maintain the strategic stability, which cannot be achieved without having the more weapons. Same is the case with the inflation rate in India, as per the Pakistan, that it's increasing in every year. Pakistan's situation is right now is quite worse, as Pakistan's economy is day by day going down, and the people who are in Pakistan, they wanted to go out, to migrate from their home country to the other countries. In the recent data shows that in the couple of last 2 years, that ratio is quite high. People are leaving the country because of the inflation, because of the situation that their lives, their basic needs are not fulfilled by the politicians, the leaders, and their objective is quite different. Rather than to spend money on their own people, they are more concerned to defend their territory. If we talked about my suggestions about this situation, is that if we're addressing the vulnerabilities created by the weapons of mass destruction in South Asia, requires policy efforts especially by the bureaucrats or the politicians, those who have the power to change the fate of their people. Secondly, they can also there can be a proper declaration of an agreement between India and Pakistan, which states non-deployment assurances for the nuclear capabilities missiles, if both the states are assured that the other state is not going to use nuclear weapons against the other, and if they maintain a stable relationship, then might be their spending on the defense might be less, and they can start investing on the betterment of their people. Additionally, an appropriate declaration of the number of operating aircrafts which are responsible for delivering the nuclear weapons, along with the specific verifiable procedures, which means that you have to declare to the other states that the number of nuclear aircraft that we are having, We are not going to use them, and we want to create a peace, and we want to create a stable relationship, which can only be possible if the both states sit together and eliminate their mistrust and the misperception that they both have to achieve the objective that is in the favor of people. And the last is implementation of confidence building measures in order to increase the trust level and in order to eliminate the misperception which is creating by the acts of any other state. Both the states have to sit together and discuss how they increase the peace, how they increase the trust level, and how to mitigate the conflict and how to manage that conflict rather than to escalating them. Thank you so much.